Welcome to the Topic of the Month with Kim Wardlow, an AINC original podcast. It's not easy being blind or going through vision loss, but we'll help you navigate these waters. Press on. Push forward. You've got this.
Hello, you are listening to the Topic of the Month. I'm your host, Kim Wardlow. Our topic this month is finances and benefits. And last week we spoke with Jessica Lovato with Benefits in Action, and we kind of did a deep dive into SSI, SSDI, and those applications and the process. But today we're going to learn a little bit more about other types of benefits and other things that Benefits in Action does, because they are not only focused in the metro area. They are serving some other counties outside of the metro as well. So I want to be sure folks know the resources that are available to them. And in light of that, I will just also mention that we'll be changing our name of this program. It is Topic of the Month, but if you're just looking through programs, that doesn't tell you a whole lot. And we felt like really what we're doing here is helping you to navigate life with vision loss. And that will be the new name of the program starting in April. I will be right back with Jessica Lovato.
This is Topic of the Month with Kim Wardlow. If you enjoy what you hear, please visit AIN Colorado for more shows, news, and articles read by our amazing staff and volunteers. If you have a question for Kim or would like to recommend a guest for future shows, please visit aincolorado.org/podcast-guest. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you for joining me again this week.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. I appreciate it so much.
So last week we were talking about SSI and SSDI, and then about some of the other types of benefits you can help folks with, either while they're in the middle of that process, which can take 6 months to a year, or even after they've been approved. There are other benefits and other things that Benefits in Action does. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about Benefits in Action itself? It's an individual nonprofit organization. I believe it was started by 3 women. So could you give us a little bit of history about the organization itself?
Absolutely. So you are absolutely correct on that. We are a nonprofit organization that helps with application assistance. We were born out of a need that, these 3 women saw. They actually this idea was created while they were working in a hospital. And they noticed this need in the community, this giant piece missing. And so these 3 amazing women created Benefits in Action. And fast forward from 2015 to now, and it has exploded and boomed. We are going to hopefully be expanding across Colorado. We just recently expanded into Colorado Springs, which is super exciting. So we'll have more availability as far as face-to-face visits, things like that if needed. We are available to not just, one county, all the counties. So you can always reach out to us. We do digital appointments, which is amazing. COVID kind of helped expedite that, but we really leaned into it. And I think that's what helped us become what we are now.
That's great. Yeah, that was one of the benefits of COVID, that we realized that the things that we only did in person could be done often virtually if that was needed. So I'm sure that's of help to you as you're working with folks further away from your offices here in Lakewood.
Right. And it's easier to accommodate everybody too, right? So if someone is housebound or they have a condition where it would be dangerous for them to leave the house medically, right? this is really, really something that has allowed us to reach even deeper in the community and help. It's really expanded our ability to reach out to people and get them the service and benefits that they need.
And I was looking at your website, and it shows 3 kind of general areas that you help folks with. It has education, navigation, and application assistance. And it looks like that those are 4, different types of benefits. Could you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, so I think one of the first key components is educating your community and your clients, right? Letting them know what benefits are available to them and how they can utilize those things to not only maximize their budget, but also reduce barriers, financial barriers, mental barriers. It really across the board helps with not only quality of life, but financial living, right? So first thing I always say is getting in touch with one of our navigators is key. If you don't know where to start with a phone call. We are trained to go through and see, based on income, age, all of your circumstances, what you might be eligible for and how we can help you. And that looks different for everybody. But there's something out there, I think. And the biggest thing that we try to do through, helping and educating our community is I had no idea prior to working here how much help I could have had, right? When I was younger in college, I was hungry, working multiple jobs. I could have saved myself so much exhaustion and time and energy if I'd known what's available to me. I feel like part of the reason that I ended up here, coming from the medical community and being in that so long, I wanted to still help people and take care of people, right? I'm a caretaker by nature. And this was one really amazing way to do that. And I think had I known what I know now, there would have been so many people, instead of being a stander by, right, and being like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, or I'm so sorry this is happening, right? I can't help myself financially. How can I help someone else? I'm not a stander by anymore, right? I feel very active in helping people, and I'm very proud of that. And I think that it's given me the tools to feel armed, right? Walking out and being like, oh, no, let me teach you something that's gonna change your life, right? And so in that way, that's kind of how I ended up here too. Funny enough. But I absolutely love it.
I'm wondering about, as you're working with folks, if you encounter people that are hesitant to apply for benefits because of stigma around it. And I know for individuals with vision loss, but other disabilities as well, the presumption that they are not capable, that they cannot do things for themselves, that's something that they struggle against on a regular basis. And so wanting to be independent and perhaps not accept benefits, that maybe that's a struggle that they have to even apply or look into benefits, because there's some stigma around that and they don't want to be seen as being incapable or unable to do things for themselves.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that I have now in my job is I think people, of course, the stigma keeps people from seeking help and applying. But I wish people would do it sooner. These are things that are available to everybody for a reason. It's here to help you. This isn't here to, say that you couldn't do these things or you can't do these things. It has nothing to do with that. I believe everybody deserves a good quality of life, and this is part of that, right? and creating a good environment for yourself. And I think it's past the point of being ashamed or overly proud or all of the things that I've seen to receiving benefits at this point. I think the stigma is one of the biggest things that needs to change. Typically, when I'm doing intake calls, one of the first things that happens is they apologize for calling me. And that kills me. Like, nobody should feel like they have to start out talking to somebody by apologizing for needing help. I think that we've all kind of failed if we have to apologize when you're calling somebody for help. And I think Benefits in Action wants to change that. I think that would be one thing that we could give our community is it's okay. We're here for that very purpose.
And I know with the pandemic, we've seen there are people who have needed to apply for benefits who have never done so before, and that may and perhaps they've not needed to stay on as things have changed, and perhaps they've been able to go back to work or whatever it be. But hopefully, that may be something that comes out of the pandemic, is reducing some of the stigma.
Exactly, and that's what I'm hoping. And I feel like, yes, there is a greater need, but also these applications and the system is hard to navigate, right? And thus the reason we have our navigators as part of what we offer. There are a number of services that we offer that even if you do not qualify for SNAP benefits, right, for food assistance, we are able to point you in a direction of the nearest food banks near you. There's an application for that. As far as you can go in and put in your zip code and it'll pop up. And these food banks are amazing. People are concerned at this point of feeding their pets. There's Pet Pantry of Colorado. That's huge. That's another great resource that I tell people about. If you don't know if you can feed your pet, reach out to these other people within our community that provide these services too.
So not only pets, I mean, yes, pets, but some of our listeners have service dogs, have guides. So they're beyond what a pet. They're really providing their family, and they're really providing a service that the person needs.
Exactly, and so we offer. There's, like I've mentioned last time, there's several cash assistant programs that we offer depending on your age or your disability, or if you have children under a certain age that we can offer. Like we had talked about last week, we help people assist with SSI, SSDI. We have SHIP navigators specifically that deal with Medicare. We understand what Part A, B, C, D means, and we like to share that with everybody, right? It's confusing, it's hard, and it's something that we can share with everyone. The next kind of thing that I always walk people through would be home-based care services, right? If you are able to live on your own, but you need assistance with cleaning or helping pack to move, or, just daily activities, that's something that we can help get you set up with as well. There's Medicaid buy-in programs. Health insurance for everybody is super important, right? And so if you don't qualify for Medicaid, you're not counted out. You're not done yet. There's Medicaid buy-in programs that are available. There's Health First Colorado for, Magi Medicaid. And then LEAP. LEAP is one of my favorite. If I could tell anyone about it, it helps with your electrical bill, right? It comes on your bill as a credit. They have a very generous allotment of income that you can make. So for one individual, you can make $2,800 a month and still apply for this benefit. And with the cost of energy being what it is right now, this is huge to have. Even if it covers 1 month, that's more food or more gas money or dog food in your pocket. These things are available and they are there for a reason. And I love for people to use them, right?
Definitely. And sometimes I think it's just people aren't aware. You don't know what's out there until you start looking or until you need something. One of the other topics or things that has really been top of mind in the last couple years is mental health. And I know sometimes that can be a struggle too, whether or not that's covered under somebody's medical insurance. Are there benefits to help people get mental health resources?
There are. But we also here offer a mental health connectiveness program. And this is another thing that was found through the pandemic and saw as a need, right? There are a number of times where I was getting phone calls of people that were just lonely, right? They just really wanted to talk. And that's great. I'm always happy to talk and listen. But we saw how many, right, were feeling disconnected and lonely. And so this whole idea was birthed out of that for this mental health connectedness program. And we have people that their whole job is to connect with the community and call them and check in on them and make sure they're doing well. Another thing that kind of was birthed out of this is food boxes, right? So that's another service we offer that I don't think everybody knows. So yes, you may not qualify for SNAP, right? And food banks everyone's not able to get to a food bank, right? We have a program on our website. It's a food box, and we deliver them once a month to people's front doors. We had a lot of seniors that couldn't go to a grocery store all of a sudden, and they didn't know what they were going to do. And so now we have a warehouse full of food that came out of the pandemic as well. We keep seeing needs, and somehow Jane just keeps creating ways to address it. And we keep getting to be a part of this amazing ride. And so that's another thing that we offer. If you know a senior citizen or someone that is struggling for food and they don't have a car or transportation or a way to get to it, give us a call. We'll get them on our list and we can get food to them too. If we can't, because we don't deliver to that part of the community, we know someone else that does.
And I think that's a really important point to make, is that while Benefits in Action may not be able to serve every single location throughout the state or, provide something like a food box at every location, that you are helping to connect individuals with resources local to them.
Right. And so, like I said, another resource, I could go on all day about the things that I've learned and seen. Another really great resource to have too is, if you can't, and maybe some of you have seen commercials, maybe not, maybe you've overheard them, but just in case not, another thing we offer is phones. We can get free phones to people in our community. That way they can stay connected with family and friends. Everybody can make sure everybody's okay. They're able to take their SNAP interview phone calls, which is also really important, right? In the homeless community, a large part of what is hard about getting them the benefits that they need is the fact that they don't have a phone. We don't have a way to connect with them after they leave the shelter that we're in with them. That's it, right? And so I have a limited window. Well, we've broken that barrier down, and now there's these phones that we can get that are unlimited, that we can connect with them. That way they can take phone calls. There's discounted RTD passes. There's so many different resources out there. It's just mostly people giving us a call and letting us know what they need so we can start basically kind of giving them a custom plan and having them talk to these navigators that know and are trained to look for these things for them.
Mm-hmm. And so then the cell phones, are there specific qualifications to receive? And how does it work with minutes and things like that?
It's unlimited. So it's got all the bells and whistles. It's a digital phone. It's a short process. If you qualify for SNAP or Medicaid, you qualify for the phone. And I think that's huge. Right now, there's people, if we're struggling to pay for food, then struggling to pay for a phone that's right way down on their list. So that's another thing that we can help get them and get them connected with everyone, get them rides, right? We have different medical rides, right? So there's different forms of that as well. Not just RTD. And I don't think people know to look for those things or to ask, right? How do I get into this situation, or how do I get help with this? So that in itself is huge.
Well, and you talked about if you're struggling to pay for food, are you going to be able to pay for a phone? I think another item that people struggle to pay for may be their prescriptions as well.
Exactly. And so there are programs out there to help with prescriptions, different things like that. In that case, I would hand it over to our amazing ship navigators. And I'm super proud because majority of them are volunteers.
Oh, wow.
These are all people who have found all of this information, learned the system, and just want to share it with others, so much so that I can't even say how amazing our different volunteer teams are, and they really keep this ship going and floating and help reach thousands of people. So,
and for benefits like the phones or prescription assistance, is there some cost to them? Are they low cost, or are they free programs?
We don't charge for any application assistance that we do. As far as what programs we can find for discounted medications and how much they'll be, it's going to be on an individual basis and kind of what resources we can find them. The phones cost nothing. The hardest part is just waiting to get it, right? But aside from that, no, we don't charge for any of our applications here. We're here to help.
Right. And they're not purchasing, like there's not a monthly fee for the phone or
no
purchasing minutes or anything.
And they may have to go through, they might check in and say, hey, has anything changed financially? No. Okay. And when we apply it, we go through all the rules and regulations with them, send all the information, which is a huge part of this whole system, right? Is really disclosing what all of this means and what it's all going to look like.
Right. Well, there are so many things, and I think it can be overwhelming, and some of the applications and things can be very complicated. So having help with that and somebody who knows what's available and can give some direction to an individual and look at that particular individual's situation and say, you qualify for ABCD, and that can be great, because I think as individual person, it can just be so overwhelming to try to figure out if there even is help for you, and then how you actually go about getting that help. So I just applaud what you all are doing at Benefits in Action. I want to be sure that you're able to give, you are a nonprofit, so I want to be sure you're able to give your website, email, phone, contact information if folks do want to contact your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyone looking to make an appointment, you can give us a call. Our phone number is 720-221-8354. Again, that's 720-221-8354. And then you can reach us at benefitsinaction.org. You can get on our website as well and kind of read about us, see about us. There's great information on there. It's called My Friend Ben. If you're wanting to get an idea of what you might qualify for and get set up with one of our wonderful navigators, that's a good place to start. It'll go through and say, hey, you might qualify for X, Y, and Z. And that way, when you set up your appointment with a navigator, you can say, hey, I think I might qualify for SNAP and Magi, but I'm very interested in LEAP as well. And we can get that going. So that's a really another great part of that whole thing too, is visiting our website.
Right. Well, I feel like we barely scratched the surface, or just scratched the surface. There's so much there.
Right. It's so much information. I know. And that's why we exist. Trying to cram all of the information about all of these benefits is kind of crazy. But definitely happy to, again, go through this with everybody again in a little bit slower pace, a little bit more detail. But I was just trying to throw out as much as I could, as quick as I could. But yes, definitely a lot.
I appreciate that. And this has been a great overview, and just knowing that each person's situation obviously is different, but you're able to look at, those individual situations and, their finances and what they have and what they're in need of, as an individual person, because it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation.
No, not at all. And it's like I said, it's almost like a customized look at who you are, what your situation is, and how we can best serve you.
Well, thank you, Jessica, for joining me for these last 2 weeks in March for our Finance and Benefits Month. I really appreciate it. And I just encourage people to reach out and just find out if there's something that could be of help to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here so much. I want to thank everyone for just, giving me the opportunity to share our story and really kind of let everybody know what's available to them, and how we can best assist you guys. Please reach out. Step one is just reaching out, and we're happy to help. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank all of you for listening to our podcast, which has been topic of the month since last August, but starting next week, in April, we'll be navigating life with vision loss. We're hoping that it describes what we're doing here, trying to provide resources and information to do just that, to navigate life with vision loss. Please tune in, listen to our other podcasts as well. We have Aftersight that just has amazing people, that Penn Street interviews, who happen to have vision loss, but they are still doing some really interesting things in their lives. And Blindsight, which deals with mental health issues from a perspective of vision loss. Bill Lundgren, who hosts that show, is blind himself, so he brings that to his program. And then our newest program, which is BLT, Blind Level Tech, with our own Jonathan Price and Evan Starnes, and they are talking all things technology. So you'll want to tune into that as well. And finally, we'll be getting more information out to you. Audio Information Network of Colorado, that provides this programming to you, is also a nonprofit, and we will be having our first fundraiser of the year, our first ever Concert in the Dark event, which will be May 4th, with the amazing Grammy Award-winning Diane Shore performing, as well as our own local Heart and Soul. And we are partnering with Rocky Mountain PBS on that, and it will be at their beautiful Buell Media Center downtown. So we'll be getting more information out to you about that, but just save the date of May 4th. Thanks for listening, and we will be back next week with a new topic.